Welcome to The Project. Tonight, a major development in the case of missing teen Phoebe Bishop, who's not been seen or heard from in 3 weeks.
They were the perfect power couple, but now Donald Trump and Elon Musk's relationship has gone absolutely nuclear. So where did it all go wrong?
I sit down with Bill the Sparky, who at 101 years young is sharing some incredible life lessons.
And she's hung up the habit, so what's next for singing sensation Casey Donovan? She joins us at the desk.
We are live from the lands of the Cooler Nation. Would you please give a big Friday welcome to Max Rushton? Good to have you here. Susie's here as well.
Hi, I'm also
Hey,
here.
Susie. Now, for almost 3 weeks, Phoebe Bishop's family have been pleading to know what happened to their girl. Today, the case took a tragic turn, with police just moments ago announcing a grim find.
Body cam footage showing the moment Queensland Police arrest Phoebe Bishop's housemate James Wood for her murder. Fellow housemate Tanika Bromley facing the same charge.
Detectives have arrested a 34-year-old male and a 33-year-old female overnight for the murder of Phoebe.
Bromley and Wood also facing separate charges of interfering with Phoebe's corpse.
We will allege that Phoebe was moved more than one occasion.
And do you believe one of those occasions was at the Goodnight Scrub National Park, or at least one of them?
That's what we'll be alleging.
Missing since May 15, the 17-year-old failed to board her flight to WA to see her boyfriend. Her flatmates claim they drove Phoebe from the derelict house they shared in Gin Gin to Bundaberg Airport in their grey Hyundai SUV. But CCTV footage shows Phoebe never entered the terminal. Police have since declared both the car and the Gin Gin home crime scenes.
3 people arrived near to the airport and 3 people never exited that vehicle.
During the 3-week ordeal, Phoebe's mum making an emotional plea.
We're appealing to anyone with any information that may help to bring Phoebe home to contact the police.
With her remains yet to be found, Phoebe's family is desperate for closure.
3 weeks is too long for us as a family and all of our friends. We just want a home.
Our world has just been shattered into the most horrific place I've ever been. We need to put her to rest. We need to put her to peace.
10 News First reporter Matt Johnson has been covering this incredibly distressing story. He's with us now. Matt, there's been some breaking news in the last half hour. What is the latest?
Yeah, well, just a few moments ago, we've received confirmation from police that during another search of the Goodnight Scrub National Park, where we saw police focused on so much at the beginning of this investigation, late today they have found what are thought to be human remains and what are thought to be the human remains of Phoebe Bishop. Now, in their confirmation to us tonight, they have said that that information was a result of investigations today and new information that came to light. We know that forensic testing will still have to be done to confirm whether these are indeed the remains of Phoebe Bishop, but police at this point in the night seem to be very confident that that is exactly what they have tragically found.
Matt, the suspects were charged last night. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, they were charged and appeared in court briefly this morning via a video link from a remand cell, and that really is now where they're going to stay for the foreseeable future. In Queensland, you can't apply for bail on a murder charge, so unless they go to a Supreme Court, really. So the only option for them is to remain in those cells for the foreseeable future. There's a lot of evidence that still needs to be looked over, particularly with this latest development tonight. But then you add in the car of Tanika Bromley, the house that the 3 housemates shared in Gin Gin, which, as we've seen in all those images, was just piled high with rubbish. It was absolutely squalid. So there is a lot for police to sift through. This is really just the beginning of this investigation.
Now, we saw those emotional pleas from her family. It's obviously a devastating day. Do we know how they're doing?
Well, just a few moments ago, actually, Phoebe's mother, Kylie Johnson, has taken to Facebook. She said she didn't think that her heart could have broken any more from when she was first reported missing to the arrests last night. But she says now this is absolutely ripping her apart. We know there will be a vigil of sorts in Gin Gin on Sunday afternoon. That would already have had to have been an incredibly sombre experience to be part of on Sunday afternoon before this latest development. So one could imagine being there on Sunday afternoon would just be incredibly devastating.
Such a terrible story, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us.
No problems.
In other news, there could be another recount in the Sydney seat of Bradfield after independent Nicolette Buller won by just 26 votes. The Liberal Party says it's considering a challenge on behalf of its candidate Giselle Kaptarian, who has refused to concede defeat. Kaptarian originally won on preferences by 8 votes before a recount went the way of Buller.
26 votes between us after 118,000 ballots were cast. And it's the two different outcomes that we're having a look at now, taking a moment to breathe, taking advice.
And some good news if you can't survive the day without coffee, but only if you're a woman. A new study has found drinking 3 small cups a day makes you 13% more likely to age better. That includes mental and physical benefits when you hit your 70s compared with those who go without. Experts say the compounds in coffee could protect the brain from Alzheimer's while boosting heart and gut health.
Interesting, isn't it?
What do you mean?
I just think it's interesting. I have to say for myself, after my 3rd espresso martini, I've never felt more alive.
I looked at the science and it says there's limited evidence, so we should take it with a pinch of salt. I know this is only for women.
Yes.
After my
It
first...
sounds like something that you were hoping that it maybe would help you.
I thought, I had my first coffee today, I was exhausted. After the second one, I was exhausted. After the third one, I was exhausted.
Do you by any chance have 2 small children?
I don't mention it ever.
Never, I've never heard
I'm
it before.
exhausted. Somebody help me. Help me.
Well, someone who isn't exhausted is South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas, who was in Adelaide to announce that he's sending some big cash to preschools and daycare centres, which is good for them, but even better for us because it means that it's time for a brand new episode of You Beauty Storytime with Peter. Oh, I love this show. Oh, yes.
You Beauty. I love school because we ride the school bus.
Oh, yeah.
You Beauty. I love school because at lunchtime we play together.
Yeah.
You Beauty.
What else?
I love school because we get to come back tomorrow. You Beauty. You Beauty.
You read that well, didn't you?
Yes, beautiful stuff. And the next book that he read was You Beauty and the Beast.
Right, we've got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. This is The Project.
Some more news now, and alleged triple murderer Erin Patterson has been accused of being two-faced during her 5th day of cross-examination. Prosecutors also suggested Patterson intended to kill her estranged husband when she invited him to the fateful lunch. When questioned why she didn't alert authorities that she may have accidentally added foraged mushrooms to the meal that killed her guests, Patterson claimed she believed they were already receiving treatment for death cap mushroom poisoning.
You agree that you told police in your record of interview that you loved Don and Gail?
Correct.
Surely if you had loved them, you would have immediately notified the medical authorities that there was a possibility that the foraged mushrooms had ended up in the meal.
Well, I didn't. I had been told that people were getting treatment for possible death cap mushroom poisoning.
Erin Patterson has pleaded not guilty to all charges. For the latest on the case, crime and justice reporter for The Age, Erin Pearson, was in court today. She joins us once again. Erin, how did the accused react when the prosecution put this to her?
Yeah, the heat was certainly turned up in the courtroom today during Nanette Rogers' questioning of the accused, and there was a lot of questions about what she knew and when in regards to what mushrooms may have been in that meal. Erin Patterson was incredibly composed today and she was really answering every single question she said that she could. There was a few that she said she couldn't remember, but that was a moment she did. She said it was on August 1, 2023 that she had a conversation with her estranged husband in hospital where he essentially accused her or asked her if she had used a dehydrator to poison his parents. And she said it was from that moment that she started questioning whether or not there could have been any other mushrooms put in the meal. But when she was asked questions about this today, she said she didn't tell anybody when that sort of possibility came into her mind. Now, we know she said that there was mushrooms from Woolies and there was also some dried mushrooms in that meal. But she said it was shortly after that conversation with her estranged husband that she thought maybe there was other mushrooms, forage mushrooms perhaps, that had gone into that meal. But as you said earlier, there wasn't any reason, she said, to tell anybody. She kept it to herself and in her evidence said she never told anybody.
Patterson was pressed on why Ian and Heather were invited. What's the prosecution suggesting?
Yeah, so there was a number of guests, as we know, that attended the meal, and Erin Patterson was asked questions about both Don, Gail, Ian and Heather and why they all were invited and whether or not 2 or 4 of them were invited to get Simon to attend, and whether or not Ian and Heather were invited first to try and get Don and Gail, and then if they then came, did Erin Patterson believe that Simon would also attend? The accusation was then that the prosecution alleged the plan was to poison all of the beef Wellingtons. Erin Patterson denied this. She said, in fact, that she had known Ian as her pastor for a number of years, and Heather had visited her house to look at her garden in the past, and she really wanted to just show them thanks for the support that they'd given her over the years.
And as we heard, allegations from the prosecution that Erin Patterson is two-faced in some way. What are they talking about there?
Yeah, so there was a number of different conversations, both on Signal messaging and also on Facebook, that were relayed to the jury again today. And in some of those, Erin Patterson was said to have been sort of swearing and expressing frustration about her in-laws and saying that, you know, she didn't need them and it's probably better that they weren't getting involved. But then when she was on the stand, she was explaining how much she cared about them and how they were her only family, and they were comments that she also made to police. So the Crown prosecutor put to her, are you two-faced? Do you have this public face that shows that you care about the family members, and then this private face where you were sharing your true feelings about them online? Erin Patterson said that wasn't the case and she wasn't two-faced.
There was also evidence presented about Erin Patterson's alleged research into death cap mushrooms. What did you learn today?
She was asked more about these iNaturalist posts that we've heard about during the trial, and whether or not she accessed that website in May 2020, and whether or not only did she access that website but navigate through to death cap mushroom sightings in Victoria, Melbourne, and also then at a particular reserve in Moorabbin. She said it's possible she could have, but she didn't have a memory of doing that. Even when she was shown the website, she said she didn't have a memory of doing that. But she did say that it was a possibility, and there was a period in time where she was, she believed, researching death cap mushrooms, but told the jury today that that was 3 years ago and she didn't have a memory of it.
Erin Pearson, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
To everyone's favourite code, and the NRL's newest club has found its top dog. Immortal and 3-time premiership player Mal Meninga will coach the Perth Bears when they re-enter the competition in 2027. Meninga will have to give up his role with the national team, though, to take on the new job. It'll be his first time coaching in the NRL since 2001.
I feel very honoured, very nervous. I think it's a huge responsibility, but I believe I'm up for it.
In actually everyone's favourite code, in a real sport, well done to the Socceroos who beat Japan last night. Basically qualified for the World Cup. The round ball is the best ball.
We're going to debate now.
No, I don't think so. So you can just chase eggs in your own time. Anyway, more importantly, it looks like a scene out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, except it isn't chocolate. It's faeces.
No.
Residents in one Perth suburb have been evacuated from their homes after a burst sewage pipe caused poo-infested flooding. Some residents even having to sandbag their doors to prevent further disaster. As you can imagine, it doesn't smell great.
Not the best start to the day, and it just got so bad. Went into the house, I could smell it all over the house. It feels like shit.
Gosh, the West Coast just swings and roundabouts today. Mal Meninga, yay! And also, wow, that's a lot.
And I chickened out of saying shit, and I apologise.
But you've made up for
and
it
now
now.
I apologise for saying.
For saying what?
I'm not saying it again. We're only allowed one, I was told.
But poo-infested flood is just, like those words, they shouldn't be seen in a sentence
never.
together, you know?
Well, I've got a surprise for you.
Others that should. With much of the country in the midst of a cold snap, the hot water bottles are full and the Oodies are out. The only thing hotter than those things combined is our weather presenter. It's time for Satellite Susie.
Thank you, Georgie Tunney, you ray of literal sunshine. And Max Rushton, I'm not saying you're not the cold front we wanted, but maybe you're the cold front we deserved. Speaking of fronts, I will be in front of 5 cameras this evening, and I plan on using every singled one of them. Hello, 5. First to what my American friend Lindsay calls our nation's capital, Sydney, where there'll be showers and tops of 19 and 17, skipping 18, which is a shame because that's when I wrote my best poetry. Do we have time for a little reading of that? And I'll just give you this. Oh, God. Yeah, thank you for clicking. I'm being told to move on. That's totally fine. To Brisbane, perfect one-day home of Georgie Tunney the next. That's 25, then dropping to 23. Speaking of dropping 2 degrees for the last time, I'm sorry, Mother. I'm sure that the comedy thing will take off soon. Taking off, you say, Susan. Airport 24/7 had some very solid numbers last night, aided by the dulcet tones of a certain university dropout. Canberra, where just like Spinal Tap, you're turning it up to 11. Cold enough for the coalition to snuggle up in bed together and make nice. Yeah, that's what I call it. Newsflash, this weekend Hobart is cold, but Dark Mofo has kicked off, and can you think of anything that warms you up better than watching a goblin play a lute with his penis? Because I certainly cannot, so don't worry, I don't have a prop for that one. Perth, despite the literal river of shit, you're consistently fine with tops of 20 and 21. Perfect weather for checking out the supercars at Wanneroo. Oh, Wanneroo? I want a wombat. Is this thing on? I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. Melbourne, it's a long weekend, but with this freezing cold weather, it might not be as long as it normally would be. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, shrinkage, boys and goblins. Now to a city that's, oh, so pretty, but just not this weekend. Adelaide, you are somewhat miserable with showers and 13, but if musical theatre has taught me anything, the sun will come out tomorrow, and by tomorrow, I mean late next week. Finally, Darwin, come here. See, I told you I'd use every camera. Darwin, it's winter. Sunny and highs of 31. Are you serious? Why are you so hot, bro? No, you are. Okay, I'm Satellite Susie. Say hi to your thermometer.
Susan, the choreography.
You worked the room, though.
Yes, fantastic. All right, well, coming up, it's the bromance breakup that's got the world watching as Elon Musk drops bombshell after bombshell about his ex, Donald Trump. You're watching The Project. We'll see you soon.
Hi, this is The Project.
Now, they call it the change, and for millions of Australian women, it's one of the biggest shifts they'll experience in their lifetime. So should workforces be making their workplaces more menopause-friendly? Not everyone seems to think so.
As I hit 51 years old, I really started to experience some of the symptoms around anxiety, hip pain, joint pain. A lot of the things that I did on a day-to-day basis started to become much more difficult.
As a GM with St John Ambulance, Karen Stewart can handle just about anything that's thrown her way. But when menopause came along, she was thrown for 6.
The anxiety was the thing that really floored me because in my career, I was a paramedic on road for over 20 years and I'd never had a problem with sort of confidence or having anxiety, so that was something that really affected me.
Karen is part of a growing push to make workplaces more menopause-friendly, starting with her own.
We've got menopause-friendly accreditation. I think we're only one of 4 in Australia. The main thing is raising that awareness so people feel comfortable to be able to speak about their signs and their symptoms and how they're feeling.
The accreditation, which provides bosses with resources and training to support women going through menopause, is the brainchild of Grace Malloy, CEO and co-founder of Menopause-Friendly Australia.
What we do is to help employers take significant action towards being a menopause-friendly employer. It means that they've created an environment where women can openly talk about menopause. They can ask for what they need without feeling stigmatised or that it's a taboo topic.
38 other companies are currently working to gain accreditation with Menopause-Friendly Australia, including the Parliament of Victoria and the Commonwealth Bank. But not everyone's a fan.
I think we need to be careful not to present midlife women as inherently incapacitated by menopause, because that's just not the case.
Dr. Sarah White says the move could actually make women's lives worse.
We know that gendered ageism is a real problem in Australian workplaces, and I do worry that some of these courses are kind of presenting midlife women as having inherent challenges and issues. You know, the subtext is you have to pay all this money and do all these courses just for women in midlife.
For many women, though, it's a moot point. An increasing number of women aged 45 to 55 are stepping away from leadership positions, reducing hours or even retiring altogether because of the difficulties of managing menopause in the workplace.
What will hurt women's reputation in work more is if we continue to ignore menopause, continue to stay silent about this normal life phase.
We're the first females to actually go through this sort of generation of menopause and being in the height of our careers. We need to make things better for the young women that are coming through behind us as well.
I'm unsure how best to tackle such a gigantic topic like this within workplaces. I'm just happy that the conversation is starting though, right? I mean, it is something that will affect us at some point in the future. And I think even for me, it shows my own naivety because it's one that I wouldn't even consider until it was actually happening.
Absolutely. And I think the conversations need to continue, definitely in the workplaces, but between friends and family and involving the conversation with men as well. I was very lucky in a family of 7 women that I had a dad who looked into this sort of thing as I was growing up. And I remember him buying quite a lot of evening primrose oil, to be honest, and saying, I just want to have everything around mum that she needs at this time. And kind of we spoke about it. I know how rare that is. I know how lucky I am. But even now, and I have an interest in this, I remember going for a walk with one of my friends only at the beginning of this year, and she was telling me about shoulder pain and how that's directly related to menopause, and I honestly had no idea. The list of symptoms are endless. The more we talk about it and demystify it, the better. And whatever the way forward is for workplaces, I am not the expert, but I think conversation has to be part of it.
Has to, and also bringing men into that conversation
Yeah,
too.
completely,
It's
because
really
there's I just sort of think about growing up and how no one talked about periods ever, even into sort of my 20s, maybe 30s, you know, and no one basically so much female health is just, let's not talk about this. We can't talk about it here, we can't talk about it at home, we can't talk about it anywhere. And so, like, even this conversation where I'm awkwardly trying to work out what to say about the menopause is quite useful because somebody else might have this conversation or might feel like they can start this conversation with a partner or a friend or whatever.
100%, because also sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. But there was a new study that was released today by MyPause that said 1 in 4 women would prefer to speak to AI than a human about their symptoms. So you just got to start the chat.
Absolutely. To America now, and it seems the utterly thinkable has happened. The very stable relationship between those two great guys, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, has totally blown up. Who saw this coming? The two billionaires falling out in real time on social media, with Musk dropping the biggest bombshell of them all.
Their relationship was already falling apart, but no one expected this.
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore.
Elon Musk has gone straight for the nuclear option.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
How did two men renowned for their calm thoughtfulness fall out so quickly? Just 1 week ago, things were rosy. Musk wrapped up his brief time in government with a ceremonial key to the White House.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
All while sporting a black eye he claimed was from his son, X.
And I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, go ahead, punch me in the face, and he did.
If Donald was wondering what it was like to be punched in the face by an oversized toddler, he was about to find out.
I think a bullet can be big, or it can be beautiful. But I don't know if it can be both.
Musk has been complaining about Donald's big, beautiful bill. Yes, it's actually called that, which Elon claims will cause a recession. Critics of the Tesla CEO say he's actually upset that the bill removes tax credits for electric vehicles.
He knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left.
False. This bill was never shown to me, even once.
Elon tweeted up a storm on his platform X, while Trump occasionally responded on his platform Truth Social.
The easiest way to save money in our budget is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts.
SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately.
I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago.
Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude.
The world watched in real time as the bromance blew up, Tesla stock tanking and Elon losing an estimated $52 billion in just hours. Republicans watched on in horror. Democrats stocked up on popcorn.
Oh, man, the girls are fighting, aren't they?
Trump should be impeached.
Yes.
So with the Earth now as scorched as a SpaceX launch pad, what is Elon's next move?
Is it time to create a new political party in America?
Donald might want to consider changing the locks.
This is beautiful. I love the gold on the ceiling.
Thank you. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, our friend Steve Clemons was just as glued to this drama as we were. He joins us from Washington. Steve, What was more surprising to you? Was it that the relationship broke down so quickly, or that Elon just went straight to the Epstein files?
I think it's a little bit the latter. I mean, you and I, we've been talking for a long time that I thought this big, beautiful bromance, had an expiration date, but we didn't know it would explode so magnificently, and that Elon would say, hey, why is, Trump not releasing the Epstein files? Because he's in them. And threatening, saying, hey, Trump should be impeached, and threatening now a third-party challenge to the Republicans. So this is pretty spectacular stuff.
Well, Musk also said that Trump only won the election because of him. Is that the case?
Well, Elon put a lot of money, $300 million, into this race in supporting a lot of the dimensions of it. But one of the things we talked about on the project, when Elon in the state of Pennsylvania, which I think proved to be the pivotal state, was offering $1 million a day to various players depending on if they would sign up to certain things. And I said, hey, he's buying the election for Donald Trump. So I won't walk away from what I said. Yes, Elon definitely helped Donald Trump win. You don't know for sure if he put him over the line totally because Kamala Harris failed on a lot of fronts. But there's just no doubt that Elon was an incredible part of the engine of Donald Trump's victory.
It's possible to hold two thoughts at the same time, isn't it? One, which is this meltdown between these two people is hilarious. But secondly, damage has been caused by getting rid of USAID, the way that Musk came in and just sort of took a chainsaw, literally, to a lot of American bureaucracy. Is that fair?
No, I think both of those things are true. I mean, I think, as we talked about last night, I said, on one hand, you could be generous to Elon Musk and saying he's upset about this bill because he's come in and tried to, reduce the size of government, reduce the number of employees, come in. He promised $1 trillion in cuts. I think he got about $9 billion in rescissions, which is almost nothing. And I think the process made him angry. But on the other side, he lost these EV contracts. At the same time, his guy from SpaceX that was going to run NASA, his nomination was pulled. So Elon saw the things that he thought he had accomplished and that he was getting in this transactional relationship with Trump shut down. And that allegedly is a lot of what has fueled Elon's anger at the White House. I mean, and he is, as you said, he went nuclear really fast.
Steve Clemons, Elon Musk is talking about setting up a new political party. Donald Trump's allies are urging him to deport Elon Musk. Both have access to rockets. How bad is this going to get?
How bad is it going to get? I don't know. Can it get a lot worse? It's pretty bad. I mean, I think the big thing is you've got the richest man in the world versus one of the most powerful, if the most powerful man in the world. And I don't see either one wanting to back off. This is like two giant gorillas going at each other viciously with neither one of them able to back off. And Elon's got a lot of money and a lot of power himself. And he's got a lot of politicians who are not Donald Trump that he is threatening. I mean, the biggest thing I think Elon Musk has done is that anyone who votes for this bill, watch out next year because they're going to meet the people that he challenges them with. So Elon is turning himself into a political force of huge magnitude. And so I see this show. We ought to trying to figure out how to sell tickets. I think it's going to keep going and going. I don't think it's over anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Not the end of it. Steve, thanks for coming on, pal.
Moving on to more of today's top stories, and the parents of the children killed in the Hillcrest jumping castle incident say they're shattered after the castle's operator was found not guilty. The judge ruled Taszorp's owner, Rosemary Gamble, failed to comply with some health and safety duties, but he said those failures weren't enough to cause the children's deaths.
When a system fails to deliver accountability for the deaths and injuries of children, it doesn't just fail our families, it fails justice itself.
An Australian man imprisoned in Iraq for 4 years has today been released. Robert Pether is now working on returning home. He was arrested in 2021, sentenced to 5 years in jail on allegations he defrauded the Iraqi government. A judge deliberated for just 15 minutes before convicting him. Pether's always maintained the process was corrupt, and a United Nations report found evidence he had been tortured.
And could this be the Wrexham of the high seas? Hollywood stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have spent millions to become co-owners of a major Australian sailing team. Sail GP will be rebranded to the Flying Ruse and will make its debut at the New York Grand Prix. The team has won 3 championships in just 4 seasons. Driver Tom Slingsby says he's in shock.
The thought that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are going to buy your team. We're in the discussions of them buying the team, and then Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and I was like, Jesus, I can't believe this might actually happen.
It's great news for sailing fans. We just need to find some sailing fans. No, I'm kidding. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Do you know what, though? I think that this may help that.
Possible.
There could be an uptick here because people who sail, they love it. They love it. They'll talk to you about it forever and ever and ever and a day. But for the average Joe, you become interested in this because of Ryan Reynolds and because of Hugh Jackman.
And the documentary that presumably comes, right?
There will definitely be a doco here. The thing is, it's not exactly Wrexham-like because the fairy tale itself, it's already a very successful team.
Yeah.
Like, we're very good at sailing. So we also love winners.
Well, why can't we combine both? So they can do this sailing thing, they've done Wrexham, then they could sail the Sydney to Hobart, build a stadium in Tasmania and fund an AFL team. I'm not saying it, but I'm not saying it.
I like it.
Okay,
I like the way you think.
So do I. Let's go back to the US, where this Harvard graduate was talking to a journalist about the division in America at the moment, and the 2 blokes fighting in the background couldn't have done more to illustrate her point.
The message itself is, if I have to put it into one sentence,
starting on
it
the
would
right.
be humanity rises and falls as one. I think we are living in a very difficult time, and I think this is a time where we can use a little bit more moral imagination.
I think that Max Rushton's laugh is evidence of how the whole world is going right now.
The best things you can't script, can you? That's
No.
wonderful, isn't it? Are you watching The Project? More in a minute. This is The Project.
Now, if I'm lucky enough to make it to 100 years old, I hope I am 10% as much of a legend as our next guest, Bill Campbell. For Bill, every day starts with a song, a dance and a little bit of DIY.
I wake up with a tune in my head. Could be Bing Crosby or anybody. But I've got Spotify over there.
You got Spotify?
Yeah.
Do you?
I've got hundreds of downloads. I think of a tune, I think, God, I'll look up Spotify, I'll name the, yeah, there it is. Download that, it's into my playlist.
At 101 years young, Bill lives large and independently on the 27th floor of an apartment building on the Gold Coast, his son Roy not far away.
Get your tools out again. Off we go. I just check that lead and make sure it's okay.
What does family mean to you these days?
Oh, I'd be lost without him.
A former Sparky, Bill's family dubbed him Mr. Fix-It, and they still bring him their electrical goods to repair.
Do you think that fixing things has kept you sharp?
Oh, yes, because I enjoy fixing things. Roy will bring some, oh, beauty. Give it a...
How long does it take?
Oh, it doesn't matter. The longer the better.
Okay, so it's nearly a brand new toaster again. It's only 40 years old. So you don't think you're going to buy a new one?
No way.
Bill grew up in regional WA, his childhood easy and happy. But for his mum, that time was anything but. When the Depression hit, his dad lost everything.
He got on the grog, he overdrew on the mortgage.
Yeah.
And he shot through, and the mother's left with 8 kids. Yeah, poor old mum. We used to have a movie come to the town once a week, and my mother was the pianist because they were silent movies.
Oh.
And when it come to a spooky bit, she'd be playing spooky music. If it was happy music, oh, she'd be...
Music has been a lifelong passion for Bill, but wind instruments, well, sadly, they were never an option.
But you had to have good teeth. My teeth were... they were rotten.
You've got a good mouth now, though.
Yeah, they're all falsies. Would you like me to tell you?
No, you keep him, but what a smile. Look at the smile.
Yeah, they're not bad teeth either.
Can I play you one of my favourites?
Yeah.
Do you sing along when you put on Spotify?
Yeah, I'll dance. I got my Willy Walker there.
Yes.
As soon as the music comes on, I don't walk, I jazz up the whole way.
Bill moved to the East Coast in the 1940s. where he trained in the army. Shortly after the war, on a train trip in a dog box cabin from Sydney Central to Rooty Hill, he had a life-changing moment.
Train stopped and get this young lady in white dress, high heels, and all the boys went, "Hey, geez, she's a nice girl, she's about your age."
Yeah.
Poor girl, she's sitting there trying to read a book. And anyhow, we all got out at Rooty Hill, which was where our camp was, and she went on to Penrith. She worked in Penrith in a machinery shop, farm machinery. And
Oh, that's good for you. You would have been like, oh, machinery.
yes,
Who was that young lady?
she finished up my wife.
That train trip was the beginning of a lifelong love affair. Bill and Ray moved to the Sunshine Coast, where Bill worked as an electrician. They had 4 sons and spent more than half a century together before Ray passed away in 2011.
You were married for more than 60 years.
Yeah.
Very happy marriage.
Yeah, good kids, good family. She was a good mother.
What's the secret?
Oh, God, I don't know. We just have to love each other.
That sounds simple.
Yeah. We did similar things. I was a bit musical. She was as musical as that puppy dog that was here a while ago.
Okay, so she was a lot of things, but not musical.
It's been more than 15 years since Ray's passing, but after 63 years together, she's never far from his thoughts.
She came back next week and we danced and...
I'm sorry to get emotional, but when you started talking about her, your face was like this. Oh, she was still gorgeous.
Oh, she's such a lovely girl. Oh.
What a lovely girl.
She is, she was. Oh, I think of her all the time. I miss her.
Last year, Bill finished his autobiography, A Century in the Making.
How long did this take you? Because this is your full life from 1923 to 2023.
Yeah.
And counting. That's important.
Yeah, because I'm still here.
You've got the same blue eyes.
I got a fatter lip there.
Take it. That's the fashion now. People like big lips.
These days, Bill has more time to reflect on everything he's learned.
What would be your life's advice?
To be happy, I think if you've got a good family, you're just naturally happy.
And keep smiling.
Keep smiling.
Even if you lose your teeth.
Yeah. And always have a tune in your head.
Every single time. It is news to nobody that you are brilliant at these interviews, but you just tear my heart out because you're right there with them every single time. And you're, God, you got me, Georgie, too.
Thank you, Susan. I mean, it was Bill. It was beautiful Bill. Because his love for Ray, he's just the most gorgeous thing.
I think you might have even melted the cold heart of Max Rushton.
I don't have a cold heart. How dare you? But, I mean, he should be the next face of Spotify, right?
Oh yeah.
Whoever runs that, Daniel Ek should give him $1 million and say, come on.
And you should see him. Like, Bill, he'll be watching this, so hello, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
But he'll be there with his iPad. He knows exactly his tablet, as he says, and he knows exactly how to use it. He was showing me his favourites, showing me his playlist that he's made, all country. I tried to get him onto a little bit of Taylor Swift. He wasn't too sure, but he agreed that Beyonce's country album was exceptional.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah, so very, very good. And he's a gorgeous man. And honestly, the key to making it to 100, community, family, and keeping the brain sharp by doing activities. That's why him fixing everything is so, so important.
Actually, my toilet seat needs, as for like weeks. I need to do that, don't I?
Are you eyeing 150?
If Bill could come over, actually, it'd be really useful. I also need to, like, hang the Hoover up on that. There's so much for Bill to do. They're saying, let's go. No, I've got some admin to get him on Air Tasker. More projects on the way. Stick around, please. And now, since becoming the youngest to ever win Australian Idol when she was just 16. Look the same. Vocal powerhouse Casey Donovan has spent the last 2 decades blowing us away, recently starring on stage in Anne Juliet and Sister Act. Casey is straight on to the next one.
Here to tell us all about it, would you please welcome Casey Donovan?
Lovely to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So you've just finished Sister Act.
Yep.
How long do you get between that and this one?
I had about 4 days of downtime, and then I've been doing like press to get this Kimberly Akimbo up and trying to have some downtime. But yeah, a week I've had off. So
is that to me? Correct me if I'm wrong. That sounds like not enough time.
You know what? It's enough to get me through. And this, you know, I get to sit into an amazing character, Aunt Deb, who's just on the run. She carries her life in a garbage bag and she's ready. She's ready to trick some kids into washing checks and just getting it done.
It's the way to live.
It's the way to live. But it's, you know, it's not a lot. But come September, I am turning my phone off. I'm uncontactable.
We'll replay this too.
Yeah, so Kimberly Akimbo's in Adelaide and Melbourne this July.
sure
Tickets
is.
are available. All that. Tell us all about it.
It is such a fun show. So I get to play Aunt Deb. Marina Pryor is playing the one and only Kimberly Akimbo, who has a rare disorder where her body is, you know, she's a 16-year-old living in a mature age lady's body. I don't want to put an age on it because we just say mature because it's kind. Yes. You know, and she goes through this story of having to live life in the moment and grab it with all she can because she doesn't know when that moment is going to be up. So it's this beautiful story of watching Kimberly grow up in this, you know, world where it's tricky and hard to navigate, and she has an amazing family around her who are very unconventional. You know, they like a drink or two, and then you've got Aunt Deb trying to scam everyone just so she can go to Hawaii and escape the world. So
I mean, who doesn't have an auntie that carries their belongings in a garbage bag?
I mean,
we've all been
treat
there.
yourself. Yeah.
But it's not just, you know, it's not just this beautiful premise, this amazing musical. It's also on skates.
Yeah.
We saw it there.
Yeah. I will be donning a rollerblade, which got sent to me, and they're like, "Can you just try this on a carpeted surface?" So I tried it out in my living room. It was great. It went. Look, I used to rollerblade around. I lived in a cul-de-sac, so I often would tell people that I was training for the Winter Olympics. I was
because
not.
you might still be.
I mean, never say never.
No.
But look, I'm excited. Sadly, I will be saying goodbye to these talons.
So beautiful.
Which
Seems
I just got
sensible.
freshly painted.
How
but
much skating? Do you skate the whole of it?
It's literally Mitchell Butel, who is directing and who is absolutely amazing, has said, "Casey, look, if you don't feel comfortable, we'll just put you up the back."
Great. Thank you for the
Just in
confidence.
case. But look, I'm so excited. It sounds like such a fun show, and they're already in rehearsals, so I'm getting all these video clips of, you know, what's going on and what I can expect next week when I jump on deck.
Well, at its heart, it seems to be about, you know, tackling that awkward age of life for anyone, right? We saw in your intro clip you, 16, winning Australian Idol. I could see your face. You were doing this. You were like this.
Bless her.
How do you think back to your own teenage years when all of that was going on?
Can you believe that's 21 years ago? It was a lot, and especially I think back then the world wasn't, I mean, it was still unkind, but now it's just kind of reached another level of just, you know, everyone has an opinion and everyone's got something to say about what you do, how you do it and where you do it. But look at her. She had no bloody idea what was happening.
Listen to her. She was incredible then, and she
was
just keeps
great.
going.
Yeah, she keeps growing. And like, I look back and I just think, wow, what a time. And to be where I am today and to have learnt so many lessons and to learn from my peers and just meet amazing people and just be able to take that with kindness and gratitude and, enjoy my job.
What would you say to her? Like now where you are, because now, I mean, that got you go headline gig after headline gig after headline gig after headline gig.
Oh, look, gosh, I don't know, breathe. It's going to be okay. Like, you know, it's not all glitz and glamour, and this is a thing in this world where, you know, we live through filters and all this stuff, and, you know, you've all grown up with me, 21 years, so, you know, I'm just Casey from Bankstown with, you know, that puts on a nice dress every now and again, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've worked hard and I play hard, and I love what I do, and I just, you know, it's all about music and bringing it back to storytelling, and I love that.
Casey Donovan, if I wasn't already attracted to your hands with your incredible nails, there's also a very big rock on your finger. Some lovely personal news in your life?
Yeah, this time last year, actually, when I had my last 2 weeks off, I went to Tasmania and got engaged, and certainly not. No, look, we keep chatting about it and we're like, do we have something big? Do we have something small? Do we just run away and do it ourselves and then, you know, throw a party, which I haven't told Renee, I'm so sorry.
Do it on roller skates.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Great idea.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone wears roller skates.
Kimberly Akimbo in Adelaide, Melbourne this July. Tickets are available now.
good.
Details are on our website. Please thank Casey Donovan.
Joy, an absolute bubble of joy. That is it for tonight. Would you please thank Max Rushton, Susan, of course. Stick around for House Hunt
Australian. We'll see you 6 p.m.